Hi, Mark Anthony Lord. I'm so thrilled to see you today.
Good to see you too. You have a different background.
I do. With the work from home,
Yeah.
my office is now a shared office. And so when I need to record and talk, then I move out to the dining room. My husband's computer takes way more room, so I'm far more mobile. So
Yeah.
yes, I have a
Yeah.
little different background today. It's probably a cleaner background because my desk is always messy,
It
but
looks
anyway,
good. It
yeah,
looks good.
thanks. Oh, so we have exciting news. Well, we had the Super Saturday Recovery Summit on intherooms.com. The first one was in April, and Mark was part of that one. We have the next one, May 16th, and they'll be monthly. But Mark has news.
Yeah, I am going to be starting a weekly spirituality and recovery meeting at In the Rooms. And we're looking at Sundays at 6 p.m. We thought it'd be a good way to sort of be in the, didn't know the best time to do it, but we thought, well, Sunday evening might be a good time to focus on spirituality.
Is
So
that Eastern time or is that
Eastern time.
okay? Just checking. So,
Yeah, yeah. So that begins the first Sunday in June.
which I think is June 7th.
7th.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for those of you here or listening in the rooms.com spelled out is a platform for recovery resources. Dr. Rob has been volunteering on that platform on Friday nights for, we don't know, but we know at least 3.5 years. I kind of think it's longer than that, but we don't know exactly when. And Dr. David Fawcett has a chemsex, which is a unique group, where he's talking about the co-occurring on Tuesday night. So it's a great platform. But the Super Saturday Recovery Summit is a different event. That gave Mark and Dr. Rob and Sophia Cottle a platform to share a presentation with some questions. There's a lot of meeting formats, and Mark's will be a directive meeting format. So if you haven't checked that out, you do have to register. It's free, but it's a great recovery platform. There's a lot of resources there, as there are on sexandrelationshiphealing.com. So.
Yeah, both platforms are great. And I want to emphasize with you that you can really remain as anonymous as you want in both of them. You can
Yes.
make pseudo names, you can do one name, no
Yeah.
picture
Yeah.
required. So
Yeah, and you don't ever have to talk or anything. You don't have to be visible. Like with that group, we had all those hundreds of people, and many people have like a little avatar that they're using, and a nickname or whatever. But it's just a great opportunity to, So if you haven't been on there, check it out. Is my point. So what do you have for us today?
well, every time we gather here once a month, we begin the month with doing some meditation and centering. I always like to begin with that. And then we open with the Serenity Prayer. And then today, our conversation, because this is the fifth month, we're going to be looking at the spirituality of the fifth step. But don't worry about if you're on the steps or not the steps. Like we're going to go into some real key spiritual components that are called forth in the practice of the fifth step. And then just looking at our own lives, like where are we, where is it possible for us to grow in these qualities above and beyond this step? So I'm excited about it.
I am too. So we're going to start. I'm going to put my feet on the floor because I'm always sitting wrong. So, well, not wrong, but I'm sitting I'm not in a grounded position. So.
Yeah, good, good. So we'll begin. All right. So if it's possible for you, people who are here today, welcome to this conversation. I always love working with Tammy, and she always brings her wisdom and insight too. And just a reminder again, as she mentioned, you can always put a comment in the chat, ask a question. Would love your participation. It makes it, the interactivity makes it more rewarding for us. So please chime in. If it's possible for you to join us in closing your eyes, that'd be great, but you don't have to. Perhaps if you're in a place where your eyes are open, you can just focus on your breath. But I'm going to begin with my eyes closed. I'm going to lead you through a breathing process where I'll count to 4, inhale through your nose, count to 4, hold the breath, count to 6 on a slow exhale. So 4 in, 4 hold, 6 exhale. And I like to exhale through the mouth, but however you want to do that. And that'll do that 3 times. And then we'll move into some stillness together. So I invite you to breathe in through the nose, breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out. 1, 2. Blow it out. 3, 4. Relax the body. 5, 6. Inhale through the nose. 1, 2. Grow taller. 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blow it out. Relax the body. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And a third time in. 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just blow it out. And imagine that your spine is growing taller as the shoulders drop, the body relaxes. And keep your focus on the breath, inviting the mind to become quiet. And just feel that relaxation shower over you from head to toe, inviting yourself to just let go and be here now. As you exhale, release whatever thought may have grabbed you and return your attention to the breath. As you exhale again, just imagine releasing the past, everything that has happened before this very moment. Just imagine it floating down a river. It can all be gone. It's over. Just be here now as you breathe in. And exhale again. Imagine releasing the future, the next minute, the next hour, the next day, week, months. We can really let go of the past and the future because both of them are not here now. And we breathe into this now moment, which is where we access our higher power. And by accessing our higher power, I simply mean getting related in this now moment to what is here, what is within you, your spiritual nature. I invite you to imagine that your mind, or maybe even see it as like your head kind of opens up and creates receptivity so that your mind is open for new thoughts, new learning, new ideas. And imagine right in the center of your chest that your heart opens up, even flowers open. Imagine just a big flower opening up in your chest, which represents your willingness to grow emotionally, to connect to the spirit of your being, and to activate self-love, self-forgiveness, and acceptance. So with our mind and heart open, we come here willing to learn and grow and to welcome our higher powers' guidance, acceptance, and healing. If you're open to that, just inside yourself, say yes. I say yes to an open mind, an open heart, and to the healing power of my higher power. As we bring this short time of meditation to a close, we do so with, I will say the Serenity Prayer. You can say it inside yourself, and if you're in a place you can say it out loud, you can say it along with me, or just breathe these words in. As I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And open your eyes whenever you're ready to do that. So again, we're glad to be with you today. There's always a strong emphasis on beginning with meditation because that is a primary spiritual practice that is promoted in the 12-step programs. And for as challenging as it can be sometimes, the reason it's challenging is because we just don't like to sit in the center of an overactive mind. But very often, that's all meditation is. Sometimes we go, oh, this is peaceful and beautiful. But many times we can find ourselves frustrated because it's like, oh, if I close my eyes and breathe and go inward, it's just like my mind is crazy. And that's the very reason that we promote meditation, even strengthening or building the muscle to be in the center of an overactive mind. That's a wonderful thing to cultivate. And what I've discovered is over time, the mind does learn to calm down. It is like training a wild dog in the yard. Eventually, with consistency, the dog feels more and more safe. The dog begins to learn the rules, and the dog begins to calm down. And that's what happens to the mind. And a calm, open mind, of course, creates the opportunity for you to have new thoughts, to be able to contemplate different choices, which for us as addicts is the freedom that we're seeking. You know, for a long time, I didn't have other choices. It was like, trigger went off, go act out. Trigger went off, go act out. Like, you know, you can go, oh, everyone has choice. Sure, at the core of our being, we have freedom of choice. But that's what the addict steals from us. The addict steals our freedom of choice. And so to gain that back is such a profound gift. And when it comes back to us and you hold it as precious, it becomes more important. Like you don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly, my free will and my freedom of choice, when I have it to use well. And meditation helps us do just that. So I want to move on to, as I was mentioning the conversation, I just kind of focus each month on the steps, just using them as springboards for the spiritual conversation. And the fifth step is such a spiritual step because it is the time in the program where it says, okay, my friend, now you need to sit with someone else and you need to share everything that was in the work of the fourth step, which is a deep personal inventory. Very, very, very challenging for some, very cathartic to get everything out on paper. I've done a good number of fourth steps, and welcome my next one whenever it's time to do that, because it's always a profound healing. It's keeping the pipes clean. To me, the fourth and the fifth step, it's like our mind and our emotions and even our physical body, which is the expression that holds all of those thoughts and that energy. It gets very clogged up with our fears and the addict's beliefs and all the addict choices we're making. All of that gets like, ugh, ugh, ugh. And the fourth and fifth step is kind of the Drano, the clearing out the plumbing so that we can get some new life flowing inside of us. So the basic idea of the fifth step is having taken a personal inventory, we share it with another person. And I didn't find that. Let me, actually, I want to pull that up. I should know that off the top of my head, the exact wording of it. Let me look it up just to make sure we got this right. Sorry, I didn't pull that up earlier. And that's not a page to find it. If you've got it in your head there, Tammy, feel free to pull that up. Where is that? How funny. Popping into a bunch of different sites and can find everything but the fifth step, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. So glad I pulled that up. That is the fifth step. But the spiritual qualities that live inside of it, number one, it's very intimate, isn't it? To actually tell our truth when many of us have never, never, ever done that. Before my fourth step, I told bits and pieces over here, and I told bits and pieces over there. And even those bits and pieces I told, I'm sure had a spin to them that was untrue. Now, I have a lot of compassion for myself in this, and I hope that you can develop compassion in it. For me, I was raised in a household that was unsafe. It was an angry household. So for children, we were scared to be truthful and to be vulnerable because that was dangerous. Also, I'm a gay man, so I spent my whole childhood lying and pretending. I pretended every single day of my childhood to be someone else so I could fit in. So lying and creating a false self, boy, that is just the fuel for the addict, right? That was my whole life. That's like all I knew. I didn't have a lot of proof that people would love and accept me fully for who I am. I didn't have files of that in my childhood experience. So stepping in to doing that is really, really real. Now, intimacy is a challenge for, I believe, and for all addicts, because it's so vulnerable. And again, we spent our lives not doing that for whatever reason, out of protection, because the addict got hold of us early on, whatever. So this fifth step invites us to move into very important components of our spirituality, which help us live sober lives, which is to be intimate with others, which means truly connected. Intimacy, not physical, not sexual, just relational. Intimacy, oh, whew, I could do sexual, well, not intimacy, but I could do sex one-on-one. I can make my mind disappear and do all of that and call that intimacy, fake intimacy, but it's the game I played. But to actually be seen and to be connected with someone and not run away, that is the growth. That is, and to me, that is one of the avenues to our spiritual awakening. We have to cultivate the ability to be vulnerable and to ultimately speak our truth in a consistent way, in a kind way, in the best way that we can, which in the beginning can be very wobbly. The ability to communicate truth grows over time and practice, and we do it wrong a lot, if you will, but we need compassion for ourselves for that. But the willingness, and this is where this particular step is so amazing, because it gives us the tools and the way to sit down with one other person who's already in the program, most likely, doesn't have to be, can be a spiritual leader or a therapist or someone, but my experience has always been my sponsor or someone in the program that has already walked the path, that has done this themselves, so they know the vulnerability and they know what it takes to show up and do this. And very often they know the right questions to ask. They know when they go, is that fully the truth there? What more is there? Because again, my way of being in the world is I can tell you most of the truth. And I've learned like that how to carve out a little piece of it. Just leave this little piece out. Why am I doing that? Because I don't feel safe. Because intimacy scares me. Because being vulnerable is worse than nails on the chalkboard. So, my ability to just slice off little parts or, just tell this part and that part happens so fast. I have a brilliant mind. I have a brilliant mind with the ability to slice and dice and share what I think you want to hear or what's going to keep me safe. But that's not the intimacy of our spirit, and that's not the freedom of sobriety. The freedom of sobriety comes at the deepest minutia, at the truth telling that is very, very detailed and as thorough as we can possibly be. But this is where the gift of freedom comes. Big time freedom. Why? Like I said, imagine plumbing. If plumbing is clogged and you put some Drano in there, it goes and flushes it out, those pipes are going to go, I can be me. I can flow as much water as comes through the pipe. I'm now not blocked up. Well, that's what happens to us mentally and emotionally. And I do think ultimately that can have powerful physical effects for us. So it's the good and right work. And I do remember the experience of outing and sharing what happened and having someone like not only not judge me, but be like, is that it? Is that all you got? And, for you and me who are like, oh my God, this is the thing I don't even know how to say out loud. And for someone to be so like, meh, all right, that's great. Like it's like it busts all the bullshit, all the stuff, the inflated energy that we have all around our stories that keeps us hiding. It's like that balloon just goes poof, and we get right sized right into ourselves. And again, what's the benefit? Intimacy, vulnerability, truth telling, and ultimately our freedom. And what I've come to realize, and I'm going to kind of close my lecture up here, is, and pass back to you, Tammy, for your thoughts and others' thoughts, is what I've come to realize is, and Brené Brown teaches this a lot, if you know Brené Brown, is there's actually profound strength in vulnerability. When you learn how to speak your truth and sit in your vulnerability and be right in the center of it, a strength of your spirit rises up that no one can take away. And that's true freedom, to walk through life truth telling, again, in a way that's kind and loving and clear, not with a baseball bat, but truth telling, outing what's occurring for you, learning how to share authentically. That vulnerability, it's amazing how many people admire it because it is admirable. And I also think that for us who are in the addiction world, it's like we lose awareness because it feels so big to us, because we lie so much, that we lose perspective to go, most everyone doesn't know how to do this. The whole world is hiding. Even a normie wasn't taught how to be powerfully vulnerable in their truth. Like to me, that is a gift of this program, because you don't learn this on the everyday. Everyday people are going to have to happen upon a workshop or suddenly be able to read a book that cracks them open. We, because our lives are on the line, we learn these amazing gifts that teach us ultimately how to live from our spirit and how to be our spiritual person. And from there, live and express life. That's the gift of it all. So again, to summarize, our focus for this month is around the teachings, the spirituality of the fifth step, which is intimacy, vulnerability, truth telling, finding ways to do that with people that are safe and don't judge us. Very often, for most of us, that's where the program comes into hand, because that's where those people are. Please don't, I am going to give this warning, don't run and tell your mom or your dad or your sister or your husband or your wife. That very often is not in fact, my program said to me, don't do that first. Tell the sponsor first. Tell someone who's there, who's not intimately connected to you first, at least the details of everything. Get that out and get that processed within us first. And then from there, whatever's meant to happen next unfolds from a much higher place. And I have truly experienced my higher power guiding the whole thing when that happens. Like, it's amazing. The miracles, that's just the word I use, man. It's like miracles can happen when we do this kind of work, because our spirit comes alive, our spirit leads, and our spirit heals. So that's me today. What are your thoughts on that, my friend Tammy?
Well, so much good stuff. But, I was thinking and I really 100% agree that it's important to share a fifth step with a sponsor or it isn't about disclosing everything to everybody. And that's the wrong kind of vulnerability, but the framing, I had the same thing, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so, and my sponsor was like, what you said, that's it. It was like, okay, and it was so freeing. Like you talked about the Drano. It was, and you know what the junk was? It was the shame and the guilt and everything else. I also very much related to I'm going to tell you part of the story. I'm going to shave off this part. I'm going to put this in the best light. I'm going to show you the areas that, that I know that you'll like or whatever, but that always left me knowing that if they really knew me, they wouldn't like me. And so the willingness to learn to be vulnerable and to be okay with, not everybody's going to like me. I'm good with that. I had to learn, it was a strengthening thing. But I had to learn that if I was going to make it, and I wanted to have healthy connections, I had to be the real me. I don't have to be, like you said, the sledgehammer. I can be the kind me, but I have to show up as me. Like all of this stuff is on the Seeking Integrity platform. There's a reason we chose integrity, because we strive to be integrous, and we want to help, other people find that. But if I am my integrous self, always learning and growing, but if I am, then I'm meeting people in a truthful way, and they get to pick, but at least they're seeing the real me, and it isn't some slanted version. So it was terrifying at first, but so freeing. And ultimately, why would I want to be in relationships with people that, think they know me or only seeing this, like it always left the hollow. And so I want to be in a relationship where you really know me and can choose.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that space, that hollow space, that's where the addict wins every time. Like, even if that is the good and the challenging of the program, is that if I'm 98% truthful, that 2%, the addict goes, oh, I'll just enter right there.
Yeah.
and start doing its game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And, the program teaches us to be honest, and, and again, that isn't the sledgehammer. I'm going to honestly tell you everything I think about you and all of that, but it's, it's showing up, honestly, for ourselves, and for others. So, and we don't have to be in a relationship with everybody, and not everybody has to like us. And I had to learn that's okay. So.
Yeah. And not everybody has to know everything.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's like, that's very important. And I don't know if this happens to you, Tammy, but I will be very honest here. I don't know if this will ever leave me. Like, when someone's coming to me to tell a truth, or that little boy in me gets really scared, and I have to breathe. I have to kind of locate some sense of safety, because my knee jerk is, oh my God, I'm in trouble lie. Like I still have
Interesting.
that
Yeah.
in me a little bit. I mean, it doesn't run me, but I'm amazed at like that part of me that's like, what did I do wrong? That tends to be what it says inside of me. I think you're focusing on something that's totally fine. So I want to say to the people,
My phone, of course, is, I keep muting because my phone keeps ringing. So
oh, that's
it's,
fine.
what I have found in this time is that I think a lot of people are discovering, that they really are struggling, as they're more confined and more with themselves, or with their loved one. I've had so many partners that have gone, I just found out. And I thought, oh my gosh, I mean, it's hard enough to find out. And then to find out during a quarantine period where you feel physically stuck, with
Yeah.
this person, it's been challenging. So I
Yeah.
apologize, but anyway, so I'm
Oh, it's
managing the
fine.
phone. So yeah.
It's fine. My point is, I think that it's progress, not perfection, in our truth telling too. It's like, because the addict in me can get everything black and white, and perfectionism is
Yeah.
one of the character defects. So and learning how to tell our truths. My experience is it's been a process of getting better and better at it over time.
Well, and I love what you just said about the black and white. I had to learn that there's, because I am quick to deal with the absolutes, the always and nevers, black and white, good and bad, like, well, even when I said I've got my, I'm sitting wrong. Well, it's not wrong. I was sitting in a way that wasn't going to work for grounding, but that doesn't mean it's wrong, I
Yeah.
mean, like I get into those, I've learned to rephrase it, to change the lens and go, no, I need to switch this, but it isn't so black and white. And I think, I think about this with partners and stuff too. It's like, it'd be easier for them if their loved one was suddenly all wrong and all bad, but they understand the brokenness. And I think with ourselves as addicts, not going to the we're all bad, which I think is such a gift of, I heard what you said, people get stuck on step 4. And I'm like, the people that get stuck and don't, they've been, I've been hanging around meetings, which is hanging around meetings, warming a seat. But the ones that don't engage in the first 9 steps in particular, but, in 4 and 5, if they're just hanging around, I go, they don't stand a good chance. And they're still hauling around, the bags of trash, and their drains are still stuck, and all the bad stuff they still have. They don't have the freedom that working through these steps, brings. The
Yeah.
5th step, and we, the 4th step is a fearless moral inventory of ourselves. But the 5th step that we're talking about is that we, are sharing, that we're vulnerable enough to share it with somebody. And like we both said, it's scary, but then you find out, oh my gosh, they're like, that is so like nothing, I mean, even the stuff that I thought, I honestly thought I was going to take it to my, deathbed, but I was like, somebody said, put everything down. So I did. And this stuff was, I'm sure I was like, oh, but I just said it, and it was just like, oh, well.
It's healing for sure. We have a question from
Oh,
Vicky.
great.
Bring forward. She says, I am the partner of a sex addict. I've been with him for 9 years and married for 6. My faith in God is extremely important to me, but I've noticed that the secrets, lying, and disappointments have had a negative impact on my faith over time. I'm feeling pretty far from God. I think my relationship with God is the key to my own recovery, but I need to understand what God asks of me in this situation. Oh, Vicky, I'm just so grateful for you sharing this. I've said this before, that I believe what I've come to know is that my right relationship with God and people was flipped. Like I would love God and I would put all my trust in people. And that's actually the exact wrong equation. Now I've learned all my trust is in God, and I need to learn to love people. Why? Because people aren't trustable, especially, you're with an addict who may or may not be finding their way. I don't know the full story, but to place your trust in an addict is not the place to place your trust. Trust can grow, trust can rebuild. I'm not saying it's forever broken, but I have come to cultivate my trust in God as that which won't be broken, that which is a constant flow of support. And my experience is, and I support you in this idea, that as your relationship with God strengthens and grows, that from there you will be guided on what you to be and do and how you're to love inside of your relationship. And something that's so important to me, and I know that Tammy knows and believes this, and they teach us so clearly from Dr. Rob, is that this is a disease. It's a disease. And if our partners had cancer, we would be heroes for sitting by their bed and giving everything we have to them during their bout with cancer. When they're in the throes and the disease of addiction, it just is something very, very different. And I don't want to make that right or wrong. I just every once in a while I've got to take myself back to, this is a disease. And so how do I love someone with a disease? Now, cancer remains over in that body. Addiction is different because it has consequences, and if, you know what I mean? So there is a different container for it, but I still feel like calling it a disease for me helps me to at least flow some compassion. Doesn't mean I don't have to figure out boundaries. Doesn't mean I don't have to speak my truth. There's lots of things that go into that. But what you talked about was your relationship with God. And I love that it's primary for you. And I assure you that from your higher powers standpoint, it's not lost or broken or distant. That's what I've come to know. My higher power, which I also call God, by the way, right here, flowing all the time. So if I'm experiencing a disconnection, then I've got to look within me. Where am I not truth telling God? Like, maybe, a great practice for me is back down on my knees and asking God for guidance, and, really humbling myself. That's what works for me, to really pray on my knees and be humble and ask God and just speak your truth. I'm feeling lost. I can't feel you here. Like, just get that out of you, between you and your God, and then spend some time listening and spend some time letting yourself be filled up with that love that's inside of you. Let that tank fill up a bit. Because that's really my experience is that's where the real love comes from. And again, once that's filled up, I can give it and share it in a different way. And by the way, love is not a doormat. Love does not mean be a doormat and just sit down. I've experienced love being a tidal wave of clarity and boundaries. And this is what I need. And this is what I expect. So there's a lot of power in love. It's soft and it's fuzzy and it's warm, but it also will take care of you and it will guide you in what's best for you. So I just want to share that.
Well, and I was thinking, and you shared this too. It's like sometimes it is, I don't feel connected, and that's my prayer or my share is, but I'm not feeling it. Please help me feel connected. When you were doing the meditation and you said open your mind, and for connections, I had the visual of, I have this one connector thing that you can plug multiple things into, and I had that, and like with and me going around getting those connections plugged in. But I was thinking one of the tools I had early in recovery, and I still like it, is the footprints in the sand, because it was a good reminder to me that sometimes when I'm not feeling it, it doesn't mean that my higher power isn't there. It's just that it was, like my higher power was carrying me rather than us walking alongside each other or whatever. So that was a helpful thing for me. The other thing I was thinking of, with this share was that, make sure you're getting support, not from your addict, but from other, we talked about, for addicts, it's important to work with a sponsor. Well, it's equally important for partners to have support for themselves, not dependent on, the broken addict, You each need your own support, in this process, and helping navigate, the path as you move forward. So there, we have a Betrayed Partner group today, Wednesdays at 12:30 Pacific time, and it's a free drop-in group. Hope you'll join. There's another one Sunday night, but those are great spots to help get, some support for you, when you're feeling all alone and disconnected. So
Yeah. And I will add, because I listened to Rob's talk, which you sent me, which really is brilliant in a lot of ways, pro-dependent.
mm,
Yeah, that what I want to do is really honor you, Vicki, because you've got 9 years. And 9 years is something that, is to be honored. You know, I know how challenging relationships can be. 24 years for me. I know that Tammy knows how challenging relationships
29 years, yes.
9 years.
Mhm.
But love is real and love is strong and love pulls us through. And so I just want to honor you for
Yeah, well, and just like we were talking about a little bit ago, it's not like you look at your addict and go, "Oh, he's all, 100%, bad, horrible, whatever." And it is that blended mix, and you go, "He's broken, and you can't fix him, and nothing you do or don't do is going to fix him or stop him or whatever. But you can have healthy boundaries, and you can, there's lots you can do to support yourself and not be a doormat,
yeah.
in that situation."
My
So
experience is when we do take care of ourselves, we create an opportunity, but somehow the other person rises up if change becomes more possible. It really is that idea that when I change, everybody around me changes. Now, that can be scary because, that may mean one person leaves and one person, but it always rises up. So any
yeah.
other thoughts or questions in our wonderful group today? I'm so grateful to have so many of you chiming in to listen in, and would love to hear from you. What did you learn or discover today? Or do you have a question? You can just type that in the chat box. And while we're waiting on that, I do want to also say to you that my invitation for you today, because I like to give homework. I'm a natural teacher, and my invitation is to find a simple way today to be vulnerable with someone. Just a small little step. But I want you to think, I want you to pick someone that you really know is love. I don't want you to set yourself up, and I don't want it to be a big deal. It could be something like, I want to tell you I ate that candy bar yesterday. I don't know. Just sort of be open. Be open to your higher power, your God, if you're willing to just say, where could I be a little more intimate and reveal a truth in a simple way that lets me know I'm loved, and that creates connection. Because that's really the gift that comes out of when it's done well, and when it's done with a person that is available, connection occurs. So and maybe you're just beginning with yourself. Maybe it doesn't about bringing someone else in. Maybe you can just, where are you not telling yourself your truth? And maybe just getting a little truthful with yourself and creating a circle of love around that is a great first step, So the baby steps can add up. All right. Anything else for us today? I think no questions rolling in.
No, I think we're good. I think you did a great job of covering the spirituality of the fifth step, and we'll look forward to June and talking about the sixth step.
Yes.
Very, very. I think people don't really understand the sixth and seventh, so I'll be anxious to hear more.
Yes, me too. Listen, everyone, have a wonderful week. Please stay connected. Seeking Integrity is one of the coolest places. There's so much support here for you. So please avail yourself to it. Stay safe and keep breathing. Peace and love.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.